Okay, assalamu alaikum sisters. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm trying this again because last time I was told that nobody can hear me. And do say salams in the comment box and get your 10 hasana. um, so I'll just wait until somebody does tell me that they can actually hear me and I am not talking to myself. So just let me know in the comments that you can hear me loud and clear, and then I'll start talking about wonderful experience I had, something related with, well, you'll have to find out, that I want to share with you today. So in the comments, it's like a mini adventure I had today. So let me know if you can hear me clearly. Can hear you, sis. Okay, great. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Nari. Okay, is that Ayan's mom? Okay, so what happened today? I've been planning to buy a new phone for a while, and so obviously with phone there are lots of choices, and it's not like it's I was buying on a plan, so it's like a 1 year or 2 year commitment as well. So I've been thinking, and there's so much information, and alhamdulillah. Anyways, I finally made up my mind. I've been doing istikhara for a while to decide and whether to even buy one and all that. So anyways, finally I made up my mind, and I went to the shop today after weeks and weeks. And when I went there, my heart was now, was istikhara. I believe, it gives you the direction that gives more peace to your heart is the answer of your istikhara, that your heart has more peace in that direction. And so anyways, I went there and I was feeling right about it, and the shop had a really long queue. So there were like a lot of people waiting, and it's almost like, I think maybe I waited for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and I'm like tired and like, okay, how long I have to wait here? I'm standing. And anyways, I started just thinking about other things. I get lost in my own mind. Anyways, so finally, when my turn came, the guy says, "Well, you have this, ID requirements, whatever they had." And I said, "Yeah, I've got this," and said, "Okay, do you have a proof of address?" I'm like, "I didn't bring a proof of address." So then he says, "Okay, you need to go get a proof of address, get one of your utility bills or bank statement." I said, "Okay, now I have to go to the bank and get that." So I went to the bank, and then the bank people said, "Okay, you have to wait." Obviously, bank also had a queue, so I waited there. Then I thought, okay, maybe I have something in my car. Let me just go get check on that. And then I went and checked in the car. I found some bills, and I then went back to the shop. And now I'm like, okay, now finally I'll get my phone. Then on the back at the shop again, there was this long queue, right? Then I was again standing there thinking, and I think, why is it, such a long wait? Does maybe Allah, is this the answer of my istikhara that's harder? Maybe am I doing something wrong? Is Allah telling me something? And I always do that, whenever something's happening, I'm always reflecting on what is Allah teaching me, whether it's a small hardship or big one. I'm thinking like, what's Allah teaching me from this? Whether even if it's a good thing. So I was just thinking like, why is this happening? Am I supposed to be doing something differently? Is Allah teaching me something? Anyways, nothing came to me, and I think maybe I should turn back. Maybe sans from my istikhara, don't buy the phone. But my heart was like, no, this is the right direction. So I felt it in my heart. I was like, okay, well, let's just stay here. But then with those bills were not right, so I decided to, I realized that these bills are not gonna work. After waiting for half an hour, though they didn't work either, so I went back home. So this is my second time at the shop, right? So I went back home and got my bank statement. Drove all the way back home. Drove all the way back to the shop. Again, parked my car, found a parking spot. All the troubles. Anyways, finally I went back to the shop. And now, again, this time actually when I went, there was an even longer queue. It was like a proper long queue this time, third time. And like, great, now I have to wait again in this long queue for another hour. Anyway, so I said, okay, let's just wait here, and started, just doing dhikr as I was waiting. And I was doing that before as well. But this time, as I was waiting, suddenly I remembered that I haven't even made dua for the phone. I haven't made dua that Allah help me buy this phone, or make the, put barakah in this phone for me. I had been doing istikhara all this while, which is a dua for it, right? It is that, Allah make it easy for me to go to the direction that's, facilitated for me. But I hadn't specifically, made dua like Allah put barakah in this phone for me, or make it a reason for me to be grateful to you, or help me get the best out of it. What, it's just a device. But how much we are able to gain from it or not gain from it, or, that depends on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then I realized I haven't made any dua for it. So, and then I started making dua that, Ya Allah, help me get this phone, make it a reason for me to be grateful for you, make it a reason for me to be closer to you, put barakah in it for me, and so on. And and I am obviously I made dua that, I hope this line and make this line disappear. So, anyway, as soon as I made dua, that whole line that was there, this long line, disappeared. It just disappeared. They were just like, bang, 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 in like within less than 60 seconds, they were all gone. And then not only one, but two of the service shop people came to me. How can we help you? And they were actually start fighting with you. Not fighting, but they were like, oh, I will help her. No, I will help her. And I'm like, no, I actually talked to her earlier when she came, so I will help her. I know what she wants already. So, Subhanallah. And what I felt at that moment is like, what is happening? And I was like, Subhanallah, it's like Allah gave me all this time. It's like the only reason all this delay was so I make dua. You haven't made dua for it yet, Ariba. And that's actually the first thing when I realized I haven't made dua. And I think immediately was so grateful that Allah reminded me to make dua. The tawfiq of just making dua. We should. So I made dua for the phone, but I also thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for reminding me to make dua. But giving me this extra time, this long wait, and it took me so long to. It's like Allah was giving me all this time that Ariba, you haven't made dua, make dua first. And I'm so glad that I only got this phone after. This is an answer to my dua now. Earlier it would just have been, but just like that. But now I look at this one, and inshallah, I hope may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it so that every time I look at it, I thank Allah and I remember this moment that I was so grateful, and that I remembered that, to make dua, and that Allah reminded me to make dua, gave me that tawfiq. So I just, was so grateful at that, and on all that excitement of getting the phone. I'm actually not that excited to get this phone now. I mean, I'm happy. I'm really happy to get this phone, but I'm more like it's all overshadowed by this entire experience of that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided me at that moment when I had completely forgotten to make dua for it. Allah guided me to make all this dua for this phone, and I was just so excited about it. And so I thought the first thing I'm gonna do now with this phone is make a Facebook live video to share this experience with you. So I literally just got it in less than an hour ago, probably, and I've been telling everybody about it. So because these are the moments you feel so close to Allah, when your dua is answered. Yeah, what the thing that you wanted was important, and you're happy that you got it. But what's even sweeter feeling is that Allah guided you to ask Him for that thing, and then He gave it to you. That closeness that you feel with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so much more dearer, isn't it? That getting that thing, of course, that's happiness. But what's more happiness is being heard by your Lord. And here I felt like He guided me, Ariba, make dua, like not like that, in a gentle way. And He waited. It's like He waited till I made dua, and then He granted me. And despite that, another thing happened. Like when I was sitting there, the guy was filling out the forms and everything to get me the phone. And so I was just looking around at the shop, and then I started wondering, Shaitan puts these thoughts in your head, making you doubt. So because this had just happened, and I thought, maybe maybe it's a less busier time now. Maybe that's why this happened. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. So I was just thinking, like, maybe this is now a less busy time for them. Usually it's been hours I've been waiting. So, and I was just thinking that, and this guy sitting next to me said, so you had a busy day? And I said, no. I said, no, it looks like you guys had a very busy day. It's been very busy. But I was just thinking that now it doesn't look like you guys are so busy. Is this usually a time that you have less customers? That doesn't look like there are many people now, because he was serving me, right? And he said, no, this is not. He said, no, this is actually our busy time. So even that thought that maybe it's just a coincidence, or maybe it's just, a less busy time for them. It wasn't, like that. That was also crushed right there. Just when I was thinking about that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped that thought from me. Don't think, this is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yeah, my heart is so, was filled with hope in that moment. And when I came back home, you know what I did? You know what I did? Of course, I thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all this experience, but I made more dua for many more things. So I asked Allah for a lot of other things that I want. So because my heart was so filled with hope at that time. And normally, I hear so many times of people, it's like, oh, Allah gave you more and you're asking even more. Of course. Allah loves to give, and I love to ask him. We love to ask him, and Allah loves it when we ask him. And so when my heart was absolutely, I knew like my hope is like on a really high level now, I'm going to ask a lot more. And inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all your du'as. Don't ever lose hope in Allah. His mercy, his hope, his mercy for you is far more than your mercy for your own self. So you might lose hope and like, I don't deserve this and not that. Allah doesn't give you according to what you deserve. Allah is so much more merciful than you can imagine. So open your hearts and ask him without having all these fears and your own limitations. Ask him with all open heart, more than you can deserve. And Jazakallah khair, sisters, for listening to me, and I hope this experience benefited you in some way. I'm gonna enjoy my phone now, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum, Sister Noreen. I hope Ayan's been good. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Khadija and Sister Tabassum and Aji.